Louisville, Kentucky, mini mecca of the sports world. Denny Crum's Cardinals own 2 NCAA basketball titles. The venerable Louisville Slugger provides major leaguers with home run power. Churchill Downs twin spires tower over the famed Kentucky Derby. Now, a new Louisville sports attraction, Craftsman NASCAR SuperTrucks. Side by side, hoping to dodge the pitfalls. Get it right, you blow through traffic like everyone's favorite 5 o'clock fantasy. Get it wrong, they'll need a fleet of wreckers to haul away the Hawks. It's the Ford Credit 200, Race 8 of the Craftsman SuperTruck Championship at Louisville Motor Speedway. The bluegrass state of Kentucky may be best known for its thoroughbred racing, but it is also a hotbed of Saturday night short track. And tonight, Louisville Motor Speedway hosts its biggest race of the year. It's the Ford Credit 200, the NASCAR SuperTrucks presented by Craftsman. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain in the flag stand where the green is about to fall on round 8 of what has been a great series. The previous 7 races all won by Chevy. 6 of those victories split between 2 men. Mike Skinner, who drives for Richard Childress, Ron Hornaday, third in the points, who drives for Dale Earnhardt. That may not sound like parity, but take a look at these point standings. First of all, in the first 5 places, it's Chevy, Ford, Chevy, Ford, Chevy. Secondly, 87 points bracket the top 5. That is a tight series. Rick Corelli leads the next 5, finally led some laps last week in Missouri and figures he's ready to win one here. Tonight, I get to do 2 things I've always wanted to do. One is share the broadcast booth with Benny Parsons, who's about to give us his perspective on truck racing. And 2 is this. Go, Benny.
Thanks, Dave. Folks, I am delighted to be here. Finally see a truck race in person. I've been watching them on TV. They look awfully excited, and I can't wait to see them. And what a racetrack we've come to. Go down in turn 1, hard on the brakes, a little short shoot, kind of like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway before turn 2. On the throttle, hard down the back straightaway. On the brakes in 3, again a short shoot. And wait till you see this exit off turn 4 down the start-finish line. It's going to be something. The place to pass is coming off turn 4. It's going to be so exciting, they even have foam there on the outside retaining wall. Dave?
Going to be a lot of action on the racetrack and in the pit area tonight, especially during that halftime break. And the man who's going to be covering that action, the third member of our telecast team, is standing by. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Thanks, Dave. You know, you mentioned the points. The man in second place has not seen victory lane, but he's the only man who has finished every single lap of all 7 races and finished in the top 10 every single time. Butch, you got your work cut out for you. Is tonight the night for victory number 1?
Well, we're hoping for a good finish. We qualified kind of far back at 10th spot, but that's been the story all year long. So we're hoping to bring it up front. Thank you.
Well, you mentioned the fact you're in 10th place, and it seems like it's going to be a tough place to pass.
It seems real tough, but, you know, no matter what, it's got to get slick out there. As hot as it is right now, somewhere along the line, it's got to get slick. And when it gets slick, I think the track will come to us.
Guys, he's been the master of consistency. Maybe tonight could be the night he finds victory lane.
Well, I tell you, Bush Miller's had all kinds of trouble qualifying this year. You know, last week they started by points. He started second. He ought to vote for that every race.
Mike Bliss, on the other hand, great qualifying run here tonight. He timed in 6th fastest compared to a season's best of 13th prior to tonight. Yes, we have in-truck cameras, and I think it's time we went to one of them right now because I want to hear the words that'll get this show on the road, as they say. I believe we're just about ready to light them up. Get set to go racing here with the NASCAR SuperTrucks by Craftsman. They come to Louisville Motor Speedway, and the fingers are poised on the ignition switches as we get set to crank them up and turn them loose. Let's give a listen.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
We're back, and the trucks have just rolled here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Let's take a look at the starting lineup tonight. The first man out will be Jack Sprague. He actually qualified 4th fastest, but they invert the top 4. It's called the Skinner rule. We'll explain that in a moment. He's got Toby Butler out of the Pacific Northwest alongside, and then it'll be Joe Ruttman, 4th ranked in the points, and the series leader Mike Skinner, your fastest qualifier for the 6th time this year alongside. Scott Lagasse shares row 3 with Mike Bliss in his best qualifying ever for Bliss, the open-wheeler turned truck racer. Then comes Ron Hornaday and Earnhardt's truck alongside Keselowski, the only Dodge in the field. P.J. Jones and Butch Miller back there in 10th spot with a long way to go. Portengay and Resendez in Bodine's truck. Our 11th and 12th, and Bill Sedgwick and Randy Churchill. Churchill making his second start in the truck, Bob Straight. Local favorite Frank Kimmel knows his way around this place. Rick Corelli didn't qualify all that well back in row 9th, along with Johnny Kinder out of California. Joe Nemechek's little brother John has the coach Jerry Glanville alongside in row 10. And back toward the back of the field, Bob Brevac makes his first truck start, if I'm not mistaken, alongside Mike Hurlbert, the former motocrosser from the state of Washington. Frank Davis, the dwarf car guy. Sammy Swindell had some bad luck, crashed his truck, and will start last. Onboard cameras, Ron Hornaday will give us this view of the action. You'll see those no-gloves hands working that steering wheel as he goes after the win. The other camera will be worn by the Ultra Wheels Ford truck of Mike Bliss from 6th starting spot. Beautiful evening for racing here in Louisville. Love this twilight deal. Leaves a lot more time after the race for the party. Benny?
I'm telling you, this is down the backstretch. It's a .438 mile D-shaped oval. Asphalt, 12 degrees in the turn straightaway, or 6 degrees. Green flags out.
And they get right at it as they jump off into turn number 1. Sprague will take the lead with Butler challenging him. And you'll begin to get a feel for this racetrack. It's not quite a rectangle. It's not an oval, certainly. It feels like it's almost round. You watch them on the first lap. They're turning all the time.
Oh, they got John Nemechek's spot coming up the 4th corner. And he's down to the inside in the grass. Gets the thing going again, and no caution. No caution yet.
Frank Davis missed him as he came off the corner. Typical kind of a bootlegger spin there, and kept on trucking. Sprague seizes the opportunity to try to get away a little bit as we go out the back of Hornaday's truck. And you got to look at the field working their way through what I guess is the west end of the racetrack. It's really hard to number the turns here, Benny. I heard estimates today ranging from 4 to 11 as to how many corners there are in this place.
And we can see just how difficult it is to pass, because there we see Sprague lose control momentarily, and the lead goes to Joe Rubbin in the 84 trying to spin.
Sprague spinning around. He got touched by Butler, and that may create chaos.
Hornaday made contact with the 24 truck.
Big trouble early, big tangle. This is one of the things everybody was concerned about. There is Sprague's truck. He sort of started it, but I think he had a nudge from Toby Butler. We'll get a look at that in the replay. And then behind them, it got tough for a lot of people, including Hornaday. First caution of the day, sparks from Sprague's truck, torn up sheet metal on the Chevy, and a big disappointment for a guy who got to start up front here.
Huge disappointment leading the race. Here we see the 31 truck, Sprague. He's trying to get by Nemechek. He loses control momentarily. Rutman goes by in the 84. When he goes by, we see Sprague come down trying to close the spot. Butler makes contact, and there we see the Skinner go by. And here's the 24 Heat, Lagasse, and the 16. See the contact that they made.
Lagasse just trying to get out of the way and pulled right down into Hornaday. No fault there. Another look at it. It all started when Sprague's car pushed up the 12-degree banking.
And there's another crash. There's Portengay, and the 83 truck goes around some contact. I didn't see who the contact was with.
Bob Straight.
And here's another crash.
And is that the coach back there behind him? I'll tell you, we've got torn up vehicles everywhere here.
Man.
Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, Mike Skinner had to make a stop. He's back out. They had to pull some of the sheet metal away. Remember the rules. Unless you've got a cut tire, you cannot change tires. It's a 5-lap penalty. Also, Sprague's truck is in. We'll try and get an update for you.
Three's beat up all over the place. Skinner obviously got hit a couple of times. He had right rear damage that you can see, and the whole left side is skinned up on the series point leading truck. So it's been a long night already for a lot of people, and we've only got 6 laps. Wild start to the Ford Credit 200 Louisville Motor Speedway. I got a feeling we're going to bend up some pickup trucks tonight. Stand by. We'll be back with more. We're back live at Louisville. We're about to go green. That's Jack Sprague hustled up the inside of the track trying to get back into position. The green flag falls on Joe Rudman, and we're racing again. The restart on lap 10 after a wild start here, Benny. We expected it to get ugly in a hurry, and that's exactly what happened. A little nerfing going on back there in 4th and 5th between the 24 of Lagasse as he got a little nudge across the start-finish line from Mike Bliss.
And we see that Hornaday has moved into 2nd place in the Papa John's truck, and there's a 21 of Toby Butler.
Look out, Toby. He tries the outside line. That'll leave the door open for Legacy on the bottom. Toby got her back down in there. Now, Hornaday got involved in that big lap 5 melee, but it doesn't look like he tore it up too bad. He's challenged on the outside. Great
Watch
move.
this. Toby Butler's trying to pass on the outside. Can you do that at Louisville? It sure looks that way as Butler goes by.
Boy, that's going to send a message to the rest of this field. Butler didn't just go by Benny. He flew by. I'm amazed at that. That's a tough move.
There's Toby Butler in the Ortho truck.
He's second. Look at the mob scene behind him. Big move up the outside. P.J. Jones around Hornaday. Hornaday's holding these guys up. That truck's not working.
Something bad wrong with Hornaday's truck. As we see he's trying to go by. Bliss is hung behind him trying to get by. There we see Coretta go by.
Look out. There goes Bliss. Unbelievable.
And around he goes. He tries to get the truck going again and does. No caution flag. No yellow. And there we see the 14 truck of...
Who's that? That's John Kinder, isn't it, down at the bottom? With the right front all spanned up. Oh, this is going to be wild. You're turning all the time. Behind all this melee, Joe Ruttman has just checked out. Butler gets into second spot. Sprague is back up to third after wrecking. P.J. Jones is fourth. Keselowski is fifth in the Dodge. This may be the wildest truck race of the 8th this season. For the moment, Ruttman is loving it. The good news is he's running away from him, Betty. The bad news is at that speed, he's going to catch the field and start lapping people about 2 more laps.
He's got to start passing cars sooner or later.
It's going to be something. It's just an unusual racetrack. It has one little straightaway. They're coming on to it right here.
That's P.J. Jones in the Craftsman truck, number 1. There we see Jack Sprague.
He's real lucky that he's still running that good after actually triggering that first crash. He's got Keselowski behind him as they continue their battle for position here. This would be 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Pretty good race.
Keselowski in the lone Dodge. And he's on the inside of Sprague.
That got the fans on their feet, as has this battle, and they're cheering for Skinner. Number 3 is a man on a mission. He has just blitzed through this field. Let's get an update from Marty Reed. Marty.
Guys, you were talking about Ron Hornaday. He has a bent rim. He's losing air in a tire. It's going down. They're rolling the dice. Benny, you can talk about how dangerous it is. They're trying to keep him going a lap down. They're praying for a yellow.
Well, which is scarier, having a tire going flat or having Resendez run into you about 4 times a lap?
Exactly. There we see Resendez in the Exide truck going by Hornaday on the outside. Now, he said, please, tires, don't go flat while I'm on the outside of it.
There are a lot of ways to be scared on a racetrack like Louisville Motor Speedway. Resendez dodges the bullet. Next in line to take a chance will be Jerry Glanville. He has a challenger on the outside, trying to move up and pick up a position as Churchill in the 88. And Ruttman has caught the traffic.
And there you see Joe Ruttman, the leader of the 84 truck, the red and white truck, the leader of the race in this heavy traffic.
This one's going to get tough to score before it is over, believe me. The 34 right in front of him is Bob Reback in his first truck start. And I'll bet Joe Ruttman right now is thinking careful and cautious, but look who's coming.
And we see the 21 truck, Toby Butler, and we see Hornaday. The tire has gone flat.
He's lost the air in it.
The right front tire is flat on the 16 truck.
This is a result of crash damage, but right fronts are going to be a tough.
Oh, he makes contact with Keselowski as he goes by, and the caution flag is out.
Hornaday clipped by Keselowski as he tried to limp around, and now will safely get it down and out of harm's way, I believe. Ron Hornaday, tough luck for the 2nd week in a row. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Well, the gamble didn't pay off. Not only did they have the damage, they are a lap down, and hood is going up. They're going to check everything out to make sure there's been no other damage up underneath. The right front is off. They're checking everything because he did scrape very hard. You see the sparks when we went by on the track. So we'll keep you posted on this right now. The yellow is out.
Last week they broke an oil line. Actually, the end pulled off an oil line, cost him a potential win. This week, collision and then tire damage. There's the contact right there.
We see Keselowski in the 29 truck almost lose control. That's the Winnebago Dodge. There goes Corelli by.
There will not be a straight fender left on a truck in the place here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway. Hornaday is an early victim of misfortune. We'll be back with more of the action right after this. Louisville Motor Motor Speedway, and less than a lap to green with Joe Ruttman leading what has been a rather eventful NASCAR SuperTruck race so far. -3, the reading on number 16. Hornaday, third ranked in the points, is back in the action, beat up and 3 laps down. They turn for green, and we're back at it. 29 laps as we restart the race, and Russell gets the great jump. Toby Butler in the yellow Ortho truck in hot pursuit. Closes up in the middle of the D on the backstretch. Then comes the lap truck. Oh, and round goes the 16 truck. Hornaday once again, some contact from Pirelli. Dale Earnhardt is not enjoying this show back in Dover, and I don't think he's going to get a yellow.
Doesn't look that way. And look at Butler right on the back bumper of Ruttman.
Interesting to watch that gap. Butler's real quick in some sections of the racetrack. Ruttman's got other sections of it dialed, and Sprague is right there, though, a lap down.
And Sprague, the 31, he spun when he made contact with the 21. Just a few laps ago. Let's see what happens, how this plays out.
Yeah, he may feel like Toby owes him one, although I don't think that was really Toby's fault. It was just a case of him not having any place to go. Look at the gap between the trucks. Watch how it kind of expands, stretches, and contracts like a rubber band, depending who has which of these corners dialed in.
The 4th truck in line, once again, is Keselowski. Bob Keselowski out of Detroit.
That puts him 3rd on the racetrack. Here's another look at what happened to Hornaday. Perhaps a nudge from Pirelli's 6. Around he goes in replay, gathers it back up, keeps right on blasting. Remember the little backing up into victory lane move that he did after his 2nd victory? Well, that is not the way to victory lane tonight, believe me. Ruttman's holding his own.
He is holding his own. There we see the 31 Sprague trying to get on the inside of Butler. Meanwhile, the 29th truck of Keselowski trying to get by.
Our unofficial scoring showing Sprague a lap down, so he wants to get that one back in a big hurry before the next yellow.
Oh,
Probably
wow.
won't be long. Look out, Butch.
Butch Miller, that's the blue and white Ford number 98, the Rebecca, and that 38 is a rental truck that Sammy Swindell is driving. He crashed his truck this afternoon, had to go to a backup, and they just had a spare on the truck that borrowed from someone. So, Andy Ginsman, that's your truck, if you're watching.
And Swindell didn't know whose truck it was. He had to ask somebody, who do we thank for this?
Exactly. Didn't know whose truck it borrowed.
The borrowed spare. He's hooked up with Roland Veronica. They're doing great things. Look out. Around goes Legacy and smacks the wall while everybody else miss him. 81 also involved Jerry Glanville. It was his contact with Swindell as they met at the pit road in practice that put Swindell out of the thing. So,
And Legacy trying to get his truck going.
Look out, guys. Leave a hole in there. They're going to both get going. Well, it has been wild. It will get wilder. That's Bliss in front of them, back out. I think we'll get another look at how this developed.
From the in-car camera, it looks like the Legacy just spun, and Coach Glanville spun to dodge him.
Never watch the guy crash, right?
No, never watch a guy just look straight ahead and hit the gas.
If you watch him go, you're going to go right where he went. It's some sort of a physics thing.
It might have been on the outside of the 11 truck. That might, John Kinder, that might have been the contact that Legacy made with the DuPont. He was on the outside, I think it was 11 truck.
Legacy was having a decent run here, had been up inside the top 7. I guess one of the beauties of this racetrack is because it's a fairly low speed thing, you can smack the wall and bend the truck up and just jump right back out there and keep on going. So keep on trucking, if you will. So it's going to be a night which one would, I think, want to stay out of trouble if there's any possible way to do that.
There's Resendez in the X-side truck making a pit stop. I saw him make a chassis adjustment as he leaves. Now he's got to go all the way around. Then he's got to come around that part of the racetrack. Now he's got to accelerate down to the end of pit road where he will stop. There you go. There's the exit, and there's a stop. When all the field goes by, he'll be able to rejoin the field. Marty Reed?
Well, we were talking to looking about the Resendez truck. I also noticed down here there was some fluid underneath. It looks like he may be starting to get an overheating condition. Remember, track temperatures, the outside temperature was 85 degrees, and track temperatures were over 120. It's now dropped to 82. It's a cool day.
And tire temperature was a big issue. They were carrying about 220 in the right front, which is probably tolerable. They were definitely hoping it would cool down this evening, and the cloud bank is moving in and helping to bring that track temperature down, so I don't think the tires will be a big problem.
You know, all that trouble that Skinner had in the GM Goodrich truck, there he is, 7th place on a track that you can't pass on. So he has kind of fought his way back towards the front.
I'm not buying that can't pass on this racetrack deal after what I saw Butler do earlier. We'll take another look at which crash. Okay, yeah, this is going to be... Yeah.
Oh, I see. There was some contact in the left rear from the coach.
Yeah.
Jerry Glanville caught the 24 truck in the left rear, and around he went, and we see that the 16 might have made contact with Jerry Glanville.
Yeah, Hornaday hit him trying to get the balance back. He's got the right front all torn up. He figured if I just nudge Coach a little here, maybe I can get this thing settled in.
There we see Sprague now in the 31 truck trying to get that lap back.
He'll be going for this. He's on the inside of Ruttman, and he'll work him hard down through the knee on the backstretch. He's got the position.
It's tight. It is tight, and Ruttman takes it away on the outside.
Ruttman's not scared of anybody. He's been doing this a long time. I was checking the statistics. This guy drove his first Winston Cup race 33 years ago. Now think about that. He's 18 years old when he made his first Cup start. Now he's in the trucks. He's driving for Ernie Irvin, and Ernie's in here tonight. He made her back from Dover, and he's got to be pretty happy with the way this is going. Sprague is the wild card, sandwiched between the two lead trucks, the red of Ruttman and that yellow ortho paint job of Toby Butler, who's having his best run of the series thus far. Look out, Skinner will be coming.
We probably ought to give the Joe Ruttman owners the no fear. And what Kindler goes around right in front of all the traffic, and the 38 truck, the borrowed truck, has made contact with the inside retaining wall.
Well, Sammy's going to have to get the phone number of the guy they borrowed that truck
don't
from.
do it now, Sammy.
Oh, Ruttman missed him. Swindell decided it was time to get her back underway. Take another look at how this one started.
There we see Kinder coming off the corner, just loses control. Now there is the 38. That's Sammy Swindell. He tries to dodge him. When he does, he spins down to the inside retaining wall.
Worth pointing out that the entrance to turn 4 is downhill, off camber. And now this is Nemechek, squirrely and loose. And the spin, I think, is going to happen in front of him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Looks like he spun out, but I think he might have saved it. He's got a flat tire. That's his problem. He has a flat tire.
Ah, that'll do it to you. So the onboard look at Nemechek's truck as he'll be going in for service. Wow, this has been wild. Left rear appears to be the culprit right there on the Burger King machine. Shares a sponsor with his brother Joe, who's racing at Dover and qualified terrifically there. We'll be back with more of the Ford Credit 200 in just a moment. We're back and live at Louisville. 1 to go to the green flag here at Louisville Motor Speedway at a wrecked Mard 200 lapper. Joe Nemechek has proof they don't handle very well with a flat left rear.
Left rear is flat. He's trying to get in the pits. He gets out in the grass. Oh, over the curb. Now I'll make it down pit road, and they'll put a new tire on. I'll be good to go.
Get one upside down to this place would be the only thing we haven't seen yet. Here's your top 15. Ruttman leads it. Butler is next. Keselowski, Jones, Corelli, Skinner on the move. Corelli, by the way, from about 17th starting spot. Sedgwick may have the only straight truck when it's all over. Straight up into 8th spot. Bliss has backed up after a crash. Here's the 38 all beat up, and here's a report from Marty Reed.
Well, Sammy Swindell is all confused by the infield pit lane assignments. They made him come back in and go back around, so he's got to catch up with the field. He is now a lap down. It's a shame. He had only 2 practice laps in that truck, and those were in the parking lot.
Now then, we see 2 trucks trying to get back in the lead lap. The 31 of Sprague is in the lead lap. There's Scott Lagacy, the DuPont truck. He's trying to get back in the lead lap. He is. Meanwhile, here goes Butler for the lead.
Behind him, you bet it is. Butler has made the pass, and it looks like Ruttman is in trouble. Challenged on the inside. He may lose another position as Toby Butler goes to the front. Keselowski has the Dodge in second. Best of the year. So we'll see what Butler can do now, Benny. Remember that pass he made on the outside? That is a red-hot truck. I'd keep an eye on this guy. Toby Butler, the leader for the first time tonight. Let's see what he can do with it.
He's getting some heavy pressure from Keselowski. And you say that this is the only Dodge. Why isn't Walter Evans here? He's at the Baja racing, trying to make enough money to be back in the truck in Bristol.
Let's see. They're probably going to run about 6-8 more hours out there, the Baja 500. You're going to see that later on ESPN. So this is your lead trio, and coming back at him is Ruttman. He don't want to sit back there in third. He wants to get back around Keselowski and make a race of it. Right on their rear deck is P.J. Jones. I would think that for P.J., this would be a good time to be very, very patient. Inside move. Look at Ruttman.
Ruttman on the inside of Keselowski has position, but meanwhile, there's a slow truck of Sammy Swindell, the 38. They're going to run across traffic in just a second. Man, which way do you go?
Boy, I tell you, you just hang on and hope for the best. They continue to race side by side. Swindell spins and right in front of him. Ruttman missed him.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He got Ruttman in the left rear and cut the left rear down. What a tough break for Joe Ruttman. Man, oh, man.
This is survival of what? The luckiest, I would say. I don't think fittest has anything to do with it tonight. This is crazy.
But meanwhile, the 31 and the 24 both got a lap down. Watch. Here we see the 38 of Swindell. He comes off the corner, makes a little contact with the Legacy truck, which spins him. He goes up the racetrack and just catches the left rear of Joe Ruttman's truck.
That was it's a game of inches, as they say. Ruttman, I thought, had cleared him, but now he caught just that corner and spun him around and into the wall. You'll see it from another angle. You should be able to see it from here, maybe.
There's no place for Ruttman to go because Keselowski is out there. And up the racetrack, just
enough to turn him around. P.J. missed him. Corelli missed him. Here's Spears in the 75. Let's go to Marty Reed.
We're down here in Ruttman's pit. He's getting ready to come around. Look who the tire man is. He's handling the tire. None other than Ernie Irvin. And boy, you should have seen this crew. They just went deflated because they knew they had a truck that was handling. But you're right, guys. This is going to be a race of survival. Whoever has the least amount of damage and still has 4 tires on at the end of this thing may be the one that wins this thing.
Slow that race truck down. Go, Joe, go.
Get her out there, Joe. He's trying to get out ahead, and he will.
He made it.
He will.
Don't run into that truck, whatever you do. Man.
You got to keep in mind that there's a figure-8 racetrack in the middle here, but I don't think I've ever seen a figure-8 race this wild. We'll be back with more from the 200 right after this. We're back. The green flag flies. Hornaday tries to get back a lap on the bottom. It does. Toby Butler, the yellow Ortho, number 21, is the leader. A wild night in Louisville, Kentucky. The black Dodge, number 29, of Bob Keselowski. Given the Mopar brand its best run thus far. P.J. Jones is there in the diehard truck.
It's their trucks.
And from on board the on-truck camera, you see the leader. Toby Butler out of the Pacific Northwest, Kirkland, Washington, now living in Kannapolis, North Carolina, says, I want to be a stock car or truck racer, and this looks like a great career path. Great shot of Butler.
There's the first 3 trucks. Butler, Keselowski, and P.J. Jones all locked together on the back bumper of Hornaday.
Hornaday, by unofficial count, some 6 or perhaps 7 laps down after at least 2 incidents and maybe 3. If you've only been in 1 incident tonight, you've been lucky at Louisville.
Oh, and we have a spin. Mike Bliss has spun this 08 Ultra Wheels truck. No caution yet. He gets the truck going, and there will be no caution. No, that was just telling him to get out of the way of the flag when I thought he was going to wave the caution. He's telling the truck to move.
Lose a lap, and the leaders will close on him. That's Bliss's second spin of the night. Let's see how it develops. Now, it already started by the time he got to us.
Might have been some contact with Portingay. There's no way of knowing, but it's difficult to ride around this racetrack by yourself and not hit something. But throw some more trucks out there, and it becomes almost impossible.
Bliss is twice a winner on this racetrack. He won last year here at the USAC Midget and the sprint cars. This is a whole lot different deal when you jump in one of these big, heavy trucks. And he's had her around twice tonight, once with help, and that time, well, we don't know exactly how it came about. He's managed to keep the encroaching leaders at bay, though, and hey, it's only a quarter of the way into this thing. He could still win it if he's on the lead lap.
Oh, I guarantee you. There we see the Keselowski and the Winnebago Dodge trying to get on the inside. It's like a little contact between he and the 21 truck.
Sometimes you're the Louisville Slugger, and sometimes you're the ball. That's one of my favorite song lyrics, and I think it may be particularly relevant in this season. A lot of hitting going on. They knew coming here it was going to be a tough place to pass, Benny, but I don't know. This doesn't, it's beyond wild. It's beyond that follow the guy, nudging, worry, finally moving out of the way. This is just crazy.
It's just absolute nuts. He's trying to It's a difficult racetrack. As I said, it's difficult to ride around this racetrack by yourself and not hit something. You throw other trucks out there, it becomes almost impossible.
Every one of these corners, whether you call it 3 or 11, every one of these corners is different. Trouble for 34, Brevac.
Looks like an engine problem.
And you can see how beat up he is there from Ashland, Wisconsin, making his first truck start. Following the leaders here, Toby Butler, number 21, out front, and he's been there most of the way. That is the Ford. He's been in contention for the lead or leading most of the way. Chased by the Dodge as they work on Hornaday, trying to put him back that lap down. Hornaday, third ranked in the series, but suffering here this evening. Has not been fun for Dale Earnhardt to watch this one back in Dover, where he struggled through qualifying for the race tomorrow. Hornaday has been beat up on a couple of occasions here this evening. Starting to say that every corner out here is different in terms of camber and angle and line, and it's just very difficult to find one fast way around the racetrack. Here is the black 3 again. Look how beat up he is.
Yeah, the Goodrich truck, Chevrolet truck, and there's Bill Sedgwick in the 75.
I want to get a look at this one. Yeah, it's bent up in the left front. Sedgwick has a reputation for taking care of his truck. He won't hurt it.
That's 4th, 5th, and 6th right there. 6 is Corella, the Total Petroleum truck. I got to say that because they fed me lunch today.
I hear that's the best place in the pit to eat.
Best place in Louisville I found to eat.
You would be the resident authority on that. I would not argue that with anybody. And of course, remember, Skinner has had to do some catching up after a first lap incident.
Back to the lead. Toby Butler still leading this baby.
Butler's got that look in his eye. He is very serious about moving into the big leagues of NASCAR racing. He was the 87 NASCAR Winston Northwest Tour champion and the 86 Rookie of the Year prior to that. He's got a bunch of wins. In fact, he's third on the all-time list out there in that regional series. This is an opportunity for him to move into the national view. Skinner, and they have caught the leader.
They have caught the leader. You know, and Butler's wife works trying to help him meet his goal of being in a... Oh, and we see Sedgwick go around. Do a 360 now. Put in gear. Come on, Bill. Go. That's it.
No caution. As good a crew chief as he is a driver. It's a fascinating story here behind Sedgwick. Started out as the jack man for old Herschel McGriff, and then got in a race car. In the first race he won, he moved Herschel out of the way, bumped him, went by, and won it. Here's what happened to him here. I think this is one of those by-yourself spins you were talking about.
It looks that way. See, I'm telling you, it's difficult to ride around here and not spin out by yourself. He goes around, but does a great job. 360, puts it in first gear and says, okay, back racing again.
Sedgwick said they were actually pretty good in practice. They loosened the thing way up for qualifying, loosened it up too much. I don't think they went back enough the other way. She's still just a tad loose right there.
Yep.
No caution out for Sedgwick, but he has managed to keep that truck relatively dent-free. And I think that's a testament to his background as a crew chief. He doesn't bring the truck back all beat up, at least under normal circumstances. But we continue to make the point. It's going to be hard to have this fender straight tonight.
Now, I was telling about Toby Butler's wife working, trying to earn enough money to keep him going while he tries to be a race truck driver. Guess who she works for?
I give up.
Mike Skinner's PR people. The Goodrich Chevrolet. Dave Allen and the Champion Group.
I'll bet Michael give him a lot of slack when he gets up there on account of that, right? I'll tell you what, they got to get through Keselowski first. I'm impressed with that Dodge. They have definitely had the race of the season. So that brand is Keselowski, who has a little previous experience on this racetrack. ARCA came here and ran about a year ago. So Keselowski has at least one race, well, part of one race. He admitted he crashed under his belt. Skinner's coming after him.
And then look at Pirelli on the outside. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Looked like between the 3 and the 6.
He'll get busy. Look out, P.J. Jones, number 1, is right there in the thick of that. Keselowski works on Toby Butler, and they begin to open up a little bit of a gap behind the melee behind them. P.J.'s hanging on, but only by his fingernails as the assault is on. This is your race for the lead. And the battle for third is tightening up and getting interesting. And it's relatively clean. We got a momentary call here. Maybe they got all that crashing out of their system.
There we see Resendez in the extra truck going the lap down.
Pirelli going side by side with Skinner.
Uh-oh, there's
Keselowski. Oh, 3 wide. That'll never work. Woo! That'll never work.
Keselowski trying to take that lead on the outside as Butler Butler was hung up on the outside of Resendez.
I think he thought he could stick him behind Resendez. It didn't quite work. Resendez got scraped off in traffic last week at I-70 Speedway, and that's how Skinner beat him. Resendez had caught Skinner, who was down to 7 cylinders, got right on his bumper. Skinner worked the traffic a little bit better and just kind of scraped him off on the last lap, beat him by a car length. The nose on that NASCAR doesn't look quite right to me.
No,
he's aerodynamic.
He's making contact with the right front with someone.
He hit something pretty hard. That thing smashed up good.
Yeah, we
Here's
see
Corelli again on the outside. May make it work this time. Skinner seems to have lost a little of the edge.
Oh, and Nemechek. He's set right in the middle of the racetrack.
Look out, boys. Here come the leader.
Come on, guys. Careful now.
They're all by. Well, that'll get us a yellow. I was going to bet you $1 they wouldn't go 10 laps that run without another yellow, Betty. I'd have lost my money right there. That one was relatively clean for about 15 or 20 laps, and we saw some good racing. There was a big concern that this was just going to end up being some kind of a single-file, can't pass anybody deal.
And we see that some smoke coming out of the left rear of the Burger King truck, so that means he's overheating. We see the steam coming out, so evidently when you see steam coming out, he's lost most of the water. If there was water in there, it would be water coming out and not steam.
Good point. John Nemechek in trouble with the Burger King truck. He's taken off the gloves this time. I believe it's going to be call it a night time for Nemechek as we approach the midway point of a wild and woolly Ford Truck 200. Be right back. We're back in Louisville, where the action tonight has been as wild as any hockey playoff game you could ever hope to see. We'll have game 1 of the Eastern Conference. Resolve the issue of who's best at Louisville. Butler and Keselowski continue their battle for the lead. Jones holding off Corelli and Skinner, who seems to have backed up a little bit. Sedgwick has spun but remains 6th. Rutman, the early leader, battling back inside the top 10. Portugais, Strait, and Miller rounding out the top 10. Let's see. I would say fewer than half of those guys have not been doing at least a 360 one time here during the course of this evening's action, and it's going to be that kind of a night. They ought to pay the money to the guy who spins least. Bliss will be on the tail end of the lead lap as we go back to green with Toby Butler the leader. Let's see who's got what with the tires cooled down. There's Butch Miller, 98. Haven't seen a lot from him tonight. He's being very cautious and trying to stay out of trouble. Great restart for Butler. Resendez is a lap down there at number 7.
Keselowski trying to get by Resendez. He does make it there. We see the 38 of Swindell. He also a lap down in that channel lock truck. I realize it's not your familiar blue, but that's a backup truck.
Down in the nose there. Remember, they run 101 laps, and then they throw a caution and take a break. Corelli is going to try to get around P.J. Jones. I believe it's 4 to go before the break.
And there's Rutman on the inside of Sedgwick trying to find his way back. Remember, Rutman is not a lap down. Oh, string of brass. 3B going in the corner.
Great work. Everybody keeping him off the wall there. The scramble is on with 3 to go for position at the end of the first half. They'll take a break, service the trucks, and go again. Keselowski wants the lead. Comes up, gives Butler a nudge. Moves to the inside. Hits him again. Get out of the way. Let's put this big black Dodge out front. Benny, can he get around him?
I don't know. This is a grand. Halfway point, $1,000 from Gatorade. And let's face it, Keselowski lead, and it's halfway. The next time they will get the caution next time.
What's he going to do?
They've already given the halfway, so Butler has won the $1,000. But meanwhile, Keselowski's trying his best to get through. He's on the outside, Dave. Here he comes.
Here they come. I think this is for the money right here. And by a margin of about 2 feet, Toby Butler will hang on for it. Keselowski was going for it. You can bet his brother, the crew chief, was on the radio saying, get your foot on the wood, find a way around. We can use the cash. Keselowski's got a lot to be happy about.
Now, they can change 1 tire per position during this stop. But you know the most important tool they're going to have in the pits? A big sledgehammer. Beat those fenders off those tires.
Get the thing somewhere back near straight. Not for cosmetic purposes, but to keep yourself out of trouble in the 99 laps still to go. Tell you what, they got a figure-8 race track in the middle of this place. They ran a rookie figure-8 race last night with 30 cars, ran 25 laps, didn't have a yellow flag. Bring the trucks out here tonight. It's been chaos for 101 laps. That brings back fond memories from you. You started out figure-8 racing.
Exactly. Used to win those won an 8 figure-8 race at Flat Rock, Michigan. There we see Butler bringing his truck into the pit area. Boy, don't you know this crew is all excited. Toby Butler, the best run he's had all year in the NASCAR SuperTruck Series.
This is Jim Venable's crew, and Jim, of course, is a longtime truck racer and really one of the pioneers of this series. Let's go to Marty Reed.
Well, they are going to go to work on the left side here, putting the fresh rubber on. I'm looking at the tires, and surprisingly, guys, considering all the war that has been going on out there, the wear seems to be pretty doggone good. And especially, probably one of the nice parts is the fact that the clouds have rolled in and the temperature has dropped about 4 degrees from the initial start of the race. So right now, Toby Butler getting some fresh tires, and we're going to have a little bit of a break here. We're going to try and talk to some of these guys as we go through. Right now, Toby's got the helmet off and is getting a cool drink of water and doing a quick debrief. And then we'll get back to you when these guys are ready to go.
This is when Marty Reed will earn his money as they take the halftime break that is traditional. In the Super Truck Series, Toby Butler is the leader over the Dodge of Keselowski. We'll be back with more of the halftime break. We're back at Louisville as the action has shifted to pit road, where they are scrambling to get those trucks rejuvenated. The clock tells you we're 7 minutes and change away from the restart of the race. And this is busy time for Marty Reed. Marty?
I'll tell you what, the heat generating out of this cockpit of Toby Butler's truck is really something. Toby, this looks like it's going to be a matter of survival. Who can finish this thing in one piece?
Well, I tell you what, you know, it's nice to finally have the Ortho Lawn and Garden Ford F-150 up front. You know, we've been struggling all year, and we're struggling today still, but you know, guys worked real hard, and we're not real good there at the towards 20 to go in that break. You know, 29 truck was all over me, but you know, we made some changes. We'll see what we can do with them.
Benny's upstairs. I know he wants to ask you a question.
What kind of change are you going to make, Toby?
We're going to change a little air pressure in the right front and also put a half a rubber in it and then put a heat pad down on the floor. My feet hurt.
Truck's a little bit loose right now?
It's you've heard this before, pushy loose.
Pushy loose.
Yeah. How do you fix that, Benny?
I don't know. Go ahead. Just
I'll
go
wear
ahead.
this radio and you tell me during the race.
Okay, buddy. Good luck to you, Toby.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, guys, this heat pad is really going to be something. I cannot explain to you how hot this really is. Now, let me move over here right next door. Here is the most expensive tire changer I think I've ever seen. You did a heck of a job there, that one quick stop.
Well, I tell you, you know, we got tangled up with some lap cars and leading the race, but it's part of it. You know, we'll just get back to the front.
Ernie, you got to be happy, though, with the way the truck's running. I think he's running like in 7th place right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we was basically, you know, in the front, and then just got that tangled up in that deal. And, you know, it's just a matter of time. We've got one of the better trucks, and, you know, just looking for a sponsor now.
Well, there you go. Now, if you want to get involved, Ernie says he's got plenty of space for you on the truck. Dave?
How important is it to go truck racing? Well, Ernie is part owner of that one, but he had to find a ride to get here today because, of course, there is another little NASCAR activity being conducted this weekend. That's at Dover, Delaware. Check this out. Check the number on the back. N3RC, as in Richard Childress. And look who's first out. Ernie bums a ride. Here's Childress. We put him to work as they showed up here just before the start of the race.
Hey, Ernie, what are you doing down here in Louisville this evening?
You know, Richard Childress come to me and said, hey, I'm going to go to Louisville and your truck's racing. I don't know if he's going to watch my truck or going to watch his truck, so I just rode along.
Yeah, so we was in Dover and watched the start of the Busch race and ended up just coming down here to watch this truck race, give our drivers some support and have a little fun down here.
You know, if you're going to bum a ride on a jet is the way to go, right?
Might as well go first class. Well, Childress hadn't had a whole lot to smile about. Let's get down there with Marty Reed.
You're right, guys. He doesn't have a lot to smile about. I mean, they're trying to realign this thing. He's had so much contact.
Yeah, you know, with the toe ends knocked out on it some, we fixed him up there and got the fender off the tire, so we just go after it for another 100 laps to see how it does.
Are we having fun yet?
I asked myself about halfway through that thing, would it be nice to be kicked back and over, but no, it's fun. You know, Mike's doing a good job. It's just a tough racetrack. I told him coming in, and we're just going to have to do what you can do and come out of here with your best finish.
Well, guys, they're in 4th place, right, or 5th place right now. Let's go back upstairs.
Fenders beat in so bad that they knocked the toe in out on the truck, and that's the 5th place truck. It's been that kind of a night, and we'll be back with more of the repair job at mid-race right after this timeout. 3:40 to the restart. Comparatively good news about a guy who drove a couple of these truck races early in the year and is a good friend of all of us here at ESPN and Saturday Night Thunder. Look here, they're pushing the leader, and that truck has not restarted.
The truck won't start. The Ortho truck, the leader of the race, will not start.
Pushy loose is one problem. This is another problem. They got 2 minutes to fix it. Push truck is there.
And check this push truck out. They're talking to him. I don't know if they want to take a chance. They still have a couple of minutes.
High drama for the leader, Toby Butler. They're going to push it away and see if, oh, they got it started just as they were ready to bring the push truck up. So we don't get to see the push truck, which is a very cute Cadillac convertible. The Ortho truck is back underway. Stan Fox woke up this morning and has been upgraded to fair condition. As you take a look at the field summary here, Fox had that horrible accident in the Indy 500. I can't explain it. You've all seen the pictures. The answer is no. He does not have foot and leg injuries. He has a head injury. He regained consciousness this morning and was upgraded to fair condition. It'll be a long way back, but Stan Fox is on the road to recovery. Butler leads it. Keselowski second. A wild scene behind them. And look at here. We get all the way down through 24. Too bad Kimmel dropped out early. He's kind of a favorite on this racetrack. If you're only 2 laps down in this race, you're very, very fortunate indeed. It is going to be a wild 99 laps to decide it as the field begins to form back up on the front straightaway. Benny, if you look, well, let's go to Marty Reed first for a quick update.
Well, guys, you were mentioning Stan Fox's condition. We should also update brother of P.J. Jones, Page. He is doing much better walking, talking with some assistance, and the improvement continues there, and our best to Page as well. Also, we probably should update Jeremy Dale is now in Indianapolis at Methodist Hospital. I know he's tuned in. Get well soon. Also, Fabrizio Barbaza continues his recovery. Of course, they were involved in an IMSA crash. You know what? If we could just stop the crashes where guys get hurt, this would be a great job to have all the time.
Well, I'll tell you, there have been a lot of crashes here tonight, but it's pretty hard to get hurt on a low-speed racetrack like this. It is very easy to tear up an awful lot of hardware. We're going to get in one more quick break before we come back and throw the green flag and decide it in the final 99 laps of the Ford Credit 200 from Louisville Motor Speedway. Toby Butler's Ford leads this race over the Dodge of Bob Keselowski, which has never been this good in a NASCAR SuperTruck race. And then comes the first Chevy, as that is Jones in third. Rick Corelli is fourth. The series point leader, Skinner, starts fifth on the restart. Joe Ruttman, the early leader, has held on for sixth. Sedgwick has spun once, but his seventh. Portgay has crashed twice, but his eighth will take on back through the rest of the field. It's been that kind of night. Benny, how do you approach the last 99? What do you do differently after the break?
Well, my concern right now for Toby Butler, he has a new crew chief this week on that 21 Ortho truck. I just hope that they didn't over-adjust or something like that and get the truck in a loose or pushing condition, because he and the crew chief, this is the first race they've worked together. I think they're doing a great job so far, but we want to see him be right there at the end of the race.
Quick update from Marty Reed.
Well, guys, they're going to have a little trouble communicating. We found out from the team that, first off, the problem with the restart, well, he just flooded the motor, but they also discovered his earpiece is swimming around inside his helmet. At speed, he can't hear him, so they're not going to be able to communicate at all.
If I were the crew chief, I think I'd only have one word of instruction for my driver: duck. You know, keep your head down.
Ever see Mike Bliss in the Ultra Wheels car? And underneath his right arm, if we could see that, it has a little message to Stan Fox that says,
there it is.
There you will. Get well, Stan.
Get well, Stan. And, of course, that sentiment reflected not only from the open wheel community, of which Bliss and Fox are fellow members, but I think throughout the racing world. Here's Butch Miller. Haven't heard a lot from Butch tonight. He is second ranked in the points, just 3 off the pace, but look how nice and clean and straight that truck is. He who keeps out of trouble tonight will do well. The green is back out. We're back underway at Louisville. Restart on lap 102. We'll see what Butler has as we go back to green. Well, he doesn't have those 2 lap trucks that went by on the inside. Resendez and Hornaday get a lap back. The yellow truck of Butler is the leader. Keselowski picks up right where he left off. And here comes Corelli up the inside. Number 6, maybe ready to win one of these things.
Number 6 on the inside of P.J. Jones takes a spot away. Skinner and Jones making some contact down the back.
Skinner got off in the grass, emulating his truck owner Earnhardt in the Winston at Charlotte Motor Speedway a few years ago, but that was more of a save than anything else.
No, Childress owns that truck. Earnhardt owns the 16 truck.
I'm sorry. I knew I was going to make that mistake. You said car once, I made that mistake. I see that black green, it says Earnhardt all over it to me, but of course Earnhardt is the owner of the 16. The remains of the 16 are rumbling around here with a lap back right in front of Butler. I think last time we counted he was 6 down, but still in there scrapping because there's a championship waiting, and that is what is on the mind of Ron Hornaday. He's got Resendez up on the outside of the leader. This could get wild. The Papa John's team going out the back end. What the leader looks like as Butler tries to get back around it. Butler has put Resendez back a lap down. Looks like that truck's okay to me.
Looks like it's okay.
29's the one in trouble. What's up with Keselowski? Here he comes.
Oh, what's up with him? He's on the outside. That's what's up with him. Meanwhile, Corelli's trying to get by. I think the 16. And some contact. And once again, some contact. And Corelli takes the lead.
Keselowski got into the back of Butler. We were looking for smoke off Keselowski's truck. He rear ends him again a little bit as PJ goes to second spot. Skinner comes to third. We'll take another look at that one for sure. Childress is smiling now. Look at his man Skinner in that black 3. As he moves into the top 3, the leader Butler has had big trouble. And we'll get another look at how this all got started. Benny?
There we see Keselowski on the outside. He tries to go on the outside. We do see some smoke out of the 29. Now, some contact. Those two trucks make contact, and there goes the first 3 trucks by.
Skinner looked underneath
the spin, the leader spin, and Skinner goes by and takes the lead. There we see the leader, Hornaday, and the leader.
Corelli
and Hornaday, yes.
And Hornaday got involved in it. The lap truck owned by Earnhardt, and at the end of the incident, it is Skinner who comes out on top. Sometimes there is no substitute for being in the right place at the right time. Corelli got to lead it for a lap and a quarter. Hornaday is stopped and doesn't appear to be coming back to life. Here's how it started.
Some contact between Hornaday and the 16 and the 6 of Corelli.
Right in front of all the traffic. Corelli goes around. The lead disappears. More contact behind him. Hornaday's not getting refired, and I'm not sure what now it's running. Yeah, he's got it back.
Looks like the right front might be flat on that truck. Or it's just...
Let's see if it is. Like a pig, so I don't know if I done it or not.
Yeah, the right front's flat on Hornaday's truck.
I've got to take a look at it. She's all laid over on the right front.
Now, that's Hornaday's crew we're hearing on the radio.
That was Doug Richard talking to him, said, bring it in. We got to check it over.
Give me a tire, boys.
Give me a tire. Yeah, you bet.
A right front.
Did nothing right.
He had successfully unlapped himself on the restart after the halftime break, but that was one of a number of laps. At last count, 6 or 7 down. And let's go to Marty. Maybe we can find out more about what's up with Keselowski.
Well, according to the team, the breather has melted. He's literally got oil sort of overflowing, and that's spilling down on the motor, and then that's what's causing the smoke that you're seeing. I don't know if NASCAR's going to let him stay out. As of now, he's still out there.
Looks like the left front's flat on that truck, but I guess it's just low on air pressure.
He's all beat up in the left. Of course, it was Keselowski up alongside the former leader, Toby Butler, that got this thing started. We'll take a break and come back with more from Louisville Motor Speedway. To go back to green, the series leader, the winner of 3 races this year, Mike Skinner, has emerged after being involved in the first incident of the night. Lead, and Rick Corelli, number 6, starts last on the lead lap as they go back to green. 114 laps down, with Skinner out front and looking bullet fast. Miller, you saw number 98 buried back in the traffic, but look how Skinner got away from him on the restart, and he's got the lap truck of Resendez between him and the second place man, P.J. Jones.
I'll tell you what, Skinner might vanish into the night if they're not careful here.
He is going to be gone. Okay, now P.J. finally will get around Resendez and set sail. P.J. told me earlier today that they didn't qualify particularly well, but he said he wasn't surprised they didn't really worry much about qualifying. They set up for long runs. I'm not sure what you call a long run in a race like this one's been.
15 laps.
15 tops, I guess.
There we see that 29 truck smoking once again. As Marty Reed reported from the pits that the oil was coming out the valve cover, the breather on the valve cover, getting on the exhaust system and smoking.
And apparently not causing a problem for anybody, at least in the judgment of NASCAR, because they have not thrown any kind of a block. I'd say that's a pretty fair amount of smoke, though.
That's a 5th place truck as he goes by Resendez on the outside.
got within a fender's length of being the first place truck in that last run. Look at the lead that Skinner has opened up over PJ, although actually I guess that lead is probably closing back down a little now. PJ, with the traffic out of the way, may have picked up a truck length that lap. Butler is finally losing the traffic and into third.
And there we see the best race on the track right now is the third place race between Toby Butler in the 21 and the 84 of Joe Redmond. It looks like that 21 truck is just a little too tight. He's pushing right now.
The pushy loose truck is pushy for the moment. Keselowski moving up off the group. He's in his own oil, isn't he?
Like he was in oil or flat tire or something. Black flag. NASCAR has black flag. The 29 truck as Ruttman goes by and takes over third place.
That's for position. That's for third. Ruttman's been pretty quiet here after getting involved in that untimely incident that Ernie Irvin described at the halftime break. Ruttman, the wily veteran, has put Butler, who led at the break, behind him and is pulling away rather rapidly. The field have strung out here as the leader Skinner got away. Resendes held up Jones for a bit. Now PJ is loose and chasing. And up to third goes Joe Ruttman. Butler has slipped to fourth, and I expect he's a fair bit frustrated at this point because I think maybe, Benny, you're exactly right. I think they tuned it backward at the break.
It looks like they've got the cars, the truck just a little bit. I said car, didn't I? Truck just a little bit too tight. Meanwhile, back where we see the 31 Sprague, 98 of Butch Miller, and Rick Corelli all trying their best to get back to the front.
A little bit of what we had expected to perhaps see early if somebody had it hooked up, and in qualifying it looked like Skinner did. There was some concern that the leader might just take off and everybody else would get stuck back there in some kind of a single file deal, not be able to go anywhere. Well, for the first 114 laps, that certainly wasn't the case. A little contact there between Corelli and Miller. Witness from the on-truck camera of Mike Bliss. He's giving it a pretty good run. Goes up the inside. Said, I'm tired of watching you guys. I want to pass you both.
Wow, 3 abreast. And he makes that pass. Good run on by Mike Bliss, the Ultra Wheels truck. There we see Bob Strait, the 37 truck.
Talked to one of the guys on the crew today about Mike Bliss, and he said, man, he said, we're sure glad to have that guy. We thought we'd about lost him to Chevy, but we managed to get a deal with him, and Mike Bliss has moved that team, or they have moved that team. Jimmy Smith, the owner, has moved that team down to Concord, North Carolina, and Bliss is looking for a place to live, and he is a full-on member of the NASCAR community. He will drive 2 more open wheel races this year.
And Corelli's on the outside of Butch Miller, and he makes the pass. Butch is just not able to get that Rebessa's truck hooked up tonight at all.
Remember, Corelli was good enough to go all the way to the front, albeit by a bit of good fortune. Everybody spun out in front of him, and he sneaked through, but he'd come from 17th starting spot to run an honest 4th. So that's a good truck, and he's still got a lot of time. There'll be a lot more yellow, I would predict. So Corelli could still be a factor to be reckoned with here. To finish the Bliss story, he'll run 2 more open wheel races this year, including the Silver Crown race coming up in Richmond. And while we speak of Richmond International Raceway, remember, a lot of these top trucks are going to be there Monday and Tuesday next week for an open testing session. And it's open in every sense of the word. It'll be open to you fans if you want to go and watch for free. Ruttman works on PJ. It's the best battle on the racetrack. Ruttman ran him down from a long way back, man.
It's a battle for second place, and as they battle, they might be gaining on Mike Skinner, the leader.
Yep, they're do that bump draft thing. Hit him, push him along, make him go a little faster. Ruttman and PJ, a couple of West Coast stars. Let's go to Marty Reed. Find out trouble.
Mike Bliss
for the
is
third time.
And the caution is out. The caution flag waves.
I'll be darned. He gathered it up and kept going, but they do throw the caution. That'll erase Skinner's lead. Marty Reed.
One good. Everybody else is getting in one a little better than us, and that's evidently it must be a little loose right there because all it takes is just a bump. He didn't hit you hard enough then. It shouldn't have spun out.
I'm loose now in the back straightaway. We loosened it up now.
Okay, we're in the back of the field. Let's take the 3 pounds, or the 2 pounds that we went up on the right rear, take it back out.
You want me to come around one more time? Can I pass the cars?
You cannot pass the cars. Just wait until you get caught up real good. Wait till they get bunched up and come on in.
Can you pass any cars coming in?
No, you can't. You have, come on. just...
This is the replay. That's Bliss we're listening to. And that's the hit that they were talking about from Corelli. And they agreed that it wasn't enough of a hit to spin him around. The truck's too loose.
Right front.
All right, I think we're ready for you, Marty, with Keselowski. We want to get that radio traffic in. Marty Reed.
Yes, and I'm sure Bob would understand, except he's a little disappointed because you were running in the top 5. The only dodge in the race. You looked like you were going to have a good day, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, sure did. It looked really good that first half. Toby Butler held me off. You know, it really didn't matter, although I'd like to lead the race. You know, we're going to have a break at the halfway point, but you know, I really thought we were quicker than him, and we went on second half real good, and I got a real bad break in traffic over there in turn 3 and ended up back in 5th, but we started coming back forward. Everything was fine. It was running just like it was in the first half, and apparently the grease seal let go on the rear end, and we started smoking real bad, and grease was getting on the right rear tire. Really not much we can do with it. By the time we can get it changed, the race will probably be over. That kind of ended our day.
Well, it's a bad break for Bob Keselowski. You heard Mike Bliss coming in and back out onto the racetrack, guys.
Bliss just now exiting the pits off the figure 8 race course. He let the field all get bunched up per the instructions you heard from the crew, and he'll rejoin on the tail end of the lead lap.
There we see the leader of the race, Mike Skinner, the Goodwrench truck. And I got to give a lot of credit to Mike Skinner, Rich Burgess, the crew chief, and Will Lynn, the general manager of this truck. They have done a super job, as has Dale Earnhardt's crew with Hornaday and Doug Richard. Each of these teams have won 3 races this year. Only 7. They've won 3 each, and Kenny Schrader won the 7th race.
Take a look at this spin. I think this will be is this the one that turned Bliss around?
Yes, it's Corelli in the 6th truck.
Push from 6.
Just a little spin, a touch, and around he goes.
Butch Miller dodged it and moved on through, so another little setback for Bliss, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. He's maybe still not considered a potential winner of the race. Let's note that Jack Sprague is up to 7th, and he was 14th at the break, so that man is on the move. He started he has the significance of having been involved in the first crash of the night. There have been a lot of decisions.
That's right. He started on the pole, as a matter of fact, the 31 truck.
Got a report that somebody is losing a bumper out there. I think it's Sedgwick who is trailing a piece on the racetrack, and I'm not sure whether we'll have to do something about that or if we'll go ahead and go green and just figure, well, they'll be yellow in a couple of laps anyway. Skinner's your leader. Jones is 2nd. Rutman 3rd. Toby Butler. Look at Portengay. He has held his own here and managed to stay out of trouble in the last couple of green flag segments. It is up to 5th as we go green and restart it. A familiar black 3 out front. Field decimated by the attrition here. Boy, Skinner got a great restart. Look how he pulled away from BJ. Hornaday still in there, scrambling to try to get a lap back. Rutman 3rd, Butler 4th, around the outside.
There we see 7, 8, and 9. 31 is Sprague, 6 Corelli, and Sedgwick in 9th, the 75 truck. And that's Portengay, the 83, right in front of them. Well, I guess that's 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, huh?
7th, 8th, 9th, yeah. Your 5th place guy there.
Oh, some contact. Coach Glanville brushed the wall as he exited one of these corners. I started to say 2, but I'm not sure. It might have been 4 or 5.
It looks like they're running in a great big circle. In reality, every corner on this racetrack is a little different. What appear to be short chutes between them end up being parts of big corners because of the line that they race here. This is Rutman working on PJ for 2nd, and as they do that, Skinner is just tall of the mail out front. Skinner's going to have that truck the best when it matters most, and that is at the end. It was reminiscent of the series opener. He came from deep in the pack to win at Phoenix over Labonte in a wild last lap effort. They had that truck perfect on the last lap. That's what you want to be good. It's nice to have it good for the first lap. It's critical to have it good for the last lap.
Joe Rubbin right now, that red number 84 is very, very good as he tries to change. Look, you hear there, what, 3 abreast.
Bliss got a wheel down on the grass on the inside. He was battling with Miller and I believe Brevac, the lap car.
I thought Brevac was out of the race. He had made a pit stop earlier, but they repaired the truck, and he's back.
Again, the importance of collecting points. This is kind of typical of what we see out of this Childress RCR operation, to see Skinner get all beat up early, come back and fix the truck, and ended up losing it late in the race.
I tell you what, right now, Joe Ruttman, the red 84, just might have the best truck. That's P.J. Jones, the red and white #1, the Sears Die-Hard truck. It looks like he might be holding up Joe Ruttman just a tick.
And so the question for Ruttman is, how long do I wait before I take a chance to move him out of the way? I don't want Skinner to get away. A position pass by Corelli as he goes up on the outside of Portengay. And is he going to complete that pass? Yeah, he's got the fender out in front, and the High Plains drifter, Rip Corelli, will pick up a position and move inside the top 5. Remember, that's from 17th starting spot with a couple of wild incidents along the way, not least of which was the collision with Hornaday that will probably add another dimension to the ongoing love affair between those two guys, as Corelli had the lead. Here is an example of post-quarter action. That's from Hornaday.
But on Hornaday's Papa John's pizza truck as Bliss goes by.
We're going to take a quick break, come back with more. It's the Ford Credit 200. Dave DeSpain, Benny Parsons, and Marty Reed, live from Louisville with 50 laps to go. At Louisville Motor Speedway, Mike Skinner's missing a great race in his black #3 as he pulls away up front. The battle behind him, and here you see the interval, and here you see the combatants. P.J. Jones has Joe Ruttman all over him during the commercial break. Ruttman moved up, nudged him a little to let him know he was there, getting a little more aggressive because he doesn't want Skinner to get away, and perhaps he's checked his mirror to see that Rick Corelli has moved around Portengay to take over 4th spot. Corelli is trying to reel in this battle, and Ruttman really needs to.
If he's going to win this race, he's going to have to. Down here, he's on the inside. He has a run going in the corner. He's there. Can he make it?
How did he manage to not touch it?
I don't know how they didn't crash.
Well, that's just amazing.
Joe Ruttman takes over that 2nd spot.
P.J. gave him just enough room without giving him enough room, and Ruttman said, I'll take that. I got a faster truck than you do.
And right now, our leader, Skinner, is caught in some traffic. There we see 6th. That's 6th and 7th and 8th right there.
Yeah, that's right. Bush is 6th, and then Portengay, and then 31 Sprague, who started on the pole, beat it all up, and is still inside the top 10. And that should be 9th behind him, I believe. That is the 75 of Bill Sedgwick. Meanwhile, the leader, we'll now find out what he's got.
And we see caught some traffic. He's had to go by 2 trucks, and he's still trying to get by the 7th of Resendez. He finally makes that pass, and we see that Ruttman is gaining just ever so slightly on the Goodrich Chevrolet, but I don't know if he has time. 37 laps. Can he catch it?
Traffic is a big deal. Who catches it right? Who catches it wrong? Corelli, meanwhile, is part of this story, as he is about equidistant behind P.J. Jones, equal to the distance that Jones is behind Ruttman. So it's still Skinner's to win or lose. Ruttman's got a very fast truck. There's a look at Bliss, who's probably just on the tail end of the top 10. Yeah, he is 10th. So that's 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th. There's a pretty tight little battle going on.
And a spin. Coach Clem and P.J. Jones makes a contact with him, and the caution flag is out.
P.J. spins.
He has a right rear flat on that truck after he made contact with Coach Glanville.
He can't get her reined in. I'll tell you what, he's beat the right side of it all up as a result, and this is going to make a whole new deal out of it. Skinner's lead will be erased. Corelli has one of the trucks in front of him eliminated, or at least moved out of the way, by the 9th caution of the day on lap 199. Let's see how it happened.
There we see Skinner go down in the corner. Now some contact between the 81 and Ruttman goes by, and we see the right rear make some contact with the P.J. Jones in that Sears Die-Hard truck.
Ruttman was lucky because he didn't get involved in it. That spin by Glanville just about took out 2nd and 3rd place. Ruttman got by, P.J. didn't. So P.J. Jones will be back in the ruck.
I said he had a flat right rear tire. He does not.
Sure acted like it had a flat
Sure acted
tire.
like it had a flat tire.
Don't handle very well on that grass over there. He went to the, he was trying to avoid Glanville, got the truck sideways. It came down to the grass.
Now with 33 laps to go, the crew is telling him to stay out there. they said there's no point in pitting because you'll have to go at the end of the line, and we can't pass many of these. Hey, make them pass you. Don't give the spots away.
Let's go to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, we were down here wondering if P.J. Jones was going to be coming in, and we were right next door with Butch Miller's crew and said, hey, your guy's truck is so clean. He says, yeah, he's sort of been pacing himself, but we're running out of laps. We're telling him to turn up the wick, so we're going to find out if Butch Miller has anything left.
Time to bend her up a little, Butch. Why should you stand out as the only guy with straight fenders on your truck? We're down to shootout time here.
You know, and I started talking about the, you know, where it says total petroleum on the back of the Corelli truck. That's on a car that's called the quarter panel. But on the truck, it's the bed, right? I mean, that's the truck bed. So,
right.
You know, we need, when they say they need a sponsor, they need something for the truck bed on these things.
There you go. It's a bit different world, this truck racing stuff. They assemble Ford pickups, one exit north on I-65. Actually, the little Rangers get put together up there. The Ford full-size pickup is the best-selling vehicle in America. This Chevrolet of Rick Corelli wants to continue a Chevrolet streak, making 8 straight wins, and he's got his second best shot of the day. He led at once, then tangled with Hornaday, and he will be right behind Joe Ruttman and Mike Skinner when we go back to green very shortly.
I mean, I think the Skinner's going to be awfully hard to pass. I think that Joe Ruttman may be a tick faster if they could just time them, but this is a race, and Ruttman's got to pass the 3 truck, and that might be difficult to do.
It's your full field summary. Butler, I think they fixed it a little too much, just as Benny called it at the halftime break. Miller, consistent, hanging in there in 5th spot, told me this morning on NASCAR Today, who wants to be consistent? I want to win one of these things. Portengay, Sprague, Sedgwick, Bliss, and Jones rounding out your top 10. We'll take you on back as there are still 11 trucks on the lead lap. That means that Straight in the 37 is the last truck on the lead lap, and we'll find out who's got what in that top 3. It ought to be a fair country shootout here at Louisville Motor Speedway. I'd like to see it stay green the rest of the way. I certainly would not bet the week's paycheck that will happen. If so, it'll be the longest green flag run of the night. Big crowd. This truck race greeted with a great deal of enthusiasm and anticipation. They come to their feet. We're about to go green for what may be the last run of the night. Lap 168. Skinner gets the great jump. Or we should say 172. Skinner gets the great jump. And if that's an indication, he's going to be very tough to pass, Benny.
There he goes. Look at the jump he has on the 84 truck already. Ruttman is already 10 car lengths behind. But
Butler trying to get around Corelli. Corelli looks loose. Butler looked pretty good there for a moment as he really came at him on that restart. I think he saw the opportunity. Figured if I'm going to get him, I better get him now. Get him behind me, make him pass me. Corelli now has opened up about a 3-truck separation on Butler. Boy, Skinner looks good. They don't make many mistakes, that team.
No, they don't make many mistakes. And I think that Skinner fits the mold of Richard Childress driver very, very well. And I will tell you that the one truck of P.J. Jones did, in fact, make the pit stop and go in and repair some of that damage. I said he wouldn't do. He'd make the other guys pass him, but he did go in. Now we see Butch Miller. He is making that move towards the front as he tries his best to get under Toby Butler.
Sounds like we're going to get a black flag out there for BJ, which will force another pit stop. Apparently, yeah, he's got body work hanging off the side of it. Butch has run every lap of the series so far. The 98 truck, Butch Miller, the only driver in the series who can make that statement. And they have consistently gotten better and better and better.
Oh, and the 31 of Sprague in the wall. Heavy contact up in the turn 1 area, or whatever turn that is up there. It's the first one after the start-finish line.
Well, sort of the first one, unless you count that other first one. Everybody got by. He hit her from the back this time. Shortened that truck up big time. None of the leaders endangered by that. In fact, they were just coming up to him as he wobbles in with the left front tire flat. That's the car the truck that started in front here after the inversion. That's the Mike Skinner rule. Skinner won 5 straight poles, and they said, well, enough of this. From now on, the pole sitter draws a pill from the box, and we will invert 0, not necessarily invert. In other words, if it's a 0, we won't invert it, or we'll invert 4, 6, or 8 trucks. Today the number was 4, so Skinner, the pole sitter, started in 4th. Why did they black flag number 1, Benny? Could you explain that?
He has the friendliest truck in town. The bed of the truck is waving at everybody.
They said, nah, PJ can't have that. Actually, they have black flagged him now for about 3 laps. So perhaps the sun is in his eyes as he comes across the start-finish line, and it has not been possible for him to see the black flag thus far. They're doing the cleanup. 10th and beat all to pieces. You never stop working, and you never stop hustling. PJ finally acknowledges the black flag, and the crew go to work.
And they've got a saw. They're grabbed hold and listen. As the saw cuts the bed off the truck. Go.
Get her back out there.
PJ does exactly as they say. He goes.
And there you see the remains of the diehard Chevy #1. Started the season as a Ford, switched teams, and will now try to scramble back inside the top 10 here in the laps that remain. We should be about 20 to go as they rally for the restart. Look at Sprague's thing. It's almost beat up as badly as PJ.
The body men will be, if they like a lot of work, they'll be delighted next week when all these trucks hit Charlotte or wherever they call home.
Well, they're supposed to go to Richmond. A lot of them supposed to test in Richmond on Monday. I hope they got enough.
They better have a backup
to test the backup truck. Skinner, Ruttman, and Corelli at the top 3, and then Butler, then Miller. That's your top 5. 9 trucks on the lead lap. Portengay, Sedgwick, Bliss, Straight is the last one on the lead lap. Churchill's hung in there pretty well here today. Jerry's kid's doing a good job as we prepare for the restart. And one gets the feeling that they can do restarts from now until dark, and Skinner would just jump them every time. He's done it 3 times running. Let's see what happens this time. Ruttman marshals his forces behind him, trying to figure out how to do something with that black 3. Crowd set. It's going to be about 19 to go, I believe, as they come down. We're green, and we're back underway at Louisville Motor Speedway. Skinner is unstoppable.
And Skinner gets a great jump, and Ruttman had all kinds of problems getting going. Getting going, is that a word?
I believe it is.
Okay,
I knew
one
exactly
anyway.
what you meant. I knew exactly what you meant. I don't know why, though, because he had a lot better restart than that previous. Butler trying to work his way around Swindell's backup machine. Let's get a quick update from the pits and Marty Reed.
Well, remember, Toby Butler cannot hear the crew, but we asked him when he was falling back, does he have a problem? They said no. He's telling us that he is saving the tires. He figures there's going to be a lot more yellow. So maybe he does have something left here.
He quickly disposed of Swindell. Will try to hunt down Ruttman.
Well, 15 laps to go. It's time, Toby. You got anything? Now's the time to use it.
Cash it in, Tony. Show us all you got. Corelli is just holding his own in 4th and will now be under attack from Miller. That is for 4th spot. Miller looks like he's pretty tough on the bottom. Corelli up on the outside. You see him racing lookout.
Uh-oh, and Corelli loses control. The back end jumps out, and that gives Butch Miller the spot.
Run almost a whole lot. Well, Resendez in trouble now. He hit
if he didn't hit the wall, he missed an awfully good chance. Meanwhile, back to the race for the 3rd spot. That's 21, Toby Butler, who has 3rd. 98, Butch Miller is chasing him down. The 38 truck of Swindell lapped down.
He moves up out of the way to let him through. He sees Corelli coming in his rear and moves clear. Resendez is in trouble and will finally clear the racetrack. Butch Miller saves his best for last. Now Sammy says, hey, Butch, you got to go faster than that or I'll race you for it, buddy. This is for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and it's a fair ways behind Ruttman, who's all alone in 2nd, and the story of this race will be number 3, Skinner, unless something untoward happens in the last 10 laps. He is in control of it. Miller cannot pick up the point lead with 10 to go, but he can keep himself in the thick of it. Ooh, that was close.
Man, that was close. And up the hill goes Toby Butler. I thought he was going to lose that position to Butch Miller. And the reason we're showing you this race, we'll just tell you that Skinner right now has 20-25 car lengths on the 2nd place truck of Joe Ruttman. So we'll show you the race for 3rd place, which is a great race.
Ruttman may be closing on Skinner a little. We're going to get a yellow. What's this for?
Debris down in the turn 1.
That's probably from Resendez mishap then. Resendez came back, cut across the pits, went back out.
There it is, later on the racetrack. It looks like a brake duct. D-U-C-T.
Quack, quack, quack. Eagle-eyed spotter says, guys, we got to clean that up. We get the 11th caution of the day. One last shot at the leader, Mike Skinner. I'll say it again. I think they could line him up and do restarts from now until tomorrow. And unless there is a minor miracle, Skinner's going to cover him time after time. He's just got a great truck when it matters most late in the event.
He just threw the duck over in the grass. He treated that radio rather poorly as he banged it off the asphalt. Now, Joe, try first gear on a restart. If he's trying second gear, try first. If he's trying third, try second.
Whatever he did last time, do something different.
Do something different.
Paid off. Skinner, Rutman, Butler, Miller, Corelli, the top 5.
Now we're in the 10-lap rule. So the lap cars will not line up beside the leaders. These cars will line up single file with Rutman right on the back of Skinner. So this will help Joe somewhat. He will not have that slow traffic, those lap cars on the inside of him.
Remember at our Tucson telecast, P.J. Jones so impressively making up laps on every restart. Now Rutman needs just one great restart to claim the first victory for Ford and the first for his team. He's trying to get himself in front of the man who has won 3 times and started from the pole 5 times, and the black 3, Mike Skinner. It's going to be very tough. We'll see it in a lap. They've been given the 1 to go signal as we set up for the finish.
You know, maybe old Rutman has lulled Skinner into thinking that he can't restart. Just waiting for a restart single file, you see. Could he be that smart?
Well, a certain danger in that because you're never quite sure that last restart is going to come, but who knows? Whatever the strategy, the payoff is going to come very quickly. They're up in turn, I would call it 3. Some drivers will tell you it's about turn 9. In any case, they're coming for the green. Here is the all-critical, perhaps final restart of the race. Skinner's got his foot down. Rutman's got his foot down. Butler right behind him. I didn't see Skinner do anything wrong there. If Rutman did something different, I couldn't see it because Skinner jumped him just like he did the previous 3 times. In fact, the challenge to Rutman is from behind. I don't think anybody has anything for Mike Skinner here this evening in the waning hours of daylight at Louisville Motor Speedway. The race is for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Butch Miller working on Toby Butler.
That is our 4th place truck, the Rebessa truck, number 98. As he tries his best to get by Toby Butler in the number 21, the green and yellow Ortho truck.
And there's the move up the inside. This may be it in the middle of the D on the backstretch. Butch puts the nose out front. Then I'm a top 3 truck. Can I catch those guys up front? Laps are very, very short. He's going to have to do something in a big hurry. This one is almost over, and it's going to the book as a Skinner payday and heyday. There should be 1 to go this time by. Mike Skinner off turn 4, takes the white flag. Rutman, frustrated, can do nothing with it. Will sit back and settle for 2nd spot. And Butch Miller with a key pass at a critical moment will get to 3rd. This is 4th and 5th, and it may be decided at the wire. Will Corelli try to pull something off here with Butler? Crowd on its feet. Checkered flag falls for the 4th time this year on Mike Skinner. Butler held off Corelli for 4th and 5th. The runner-up spot to Rutman. 3rd will be Butch Miller. And so it's Chevy, Ford in the top 3. That is a pretty good story right there. A pretty good visual picture of what this race was all about. Beat it to pieces, but keep it running and keep it healthy enough to win.
We see the damage to the door of that truck. He crashed on the very first lap. Crashed on the very first lap. We see Richard Childers congratulating all of his crew. So, Richard, the trip here was worthwhile after all, wasn't it?
Worth burning up all that jet fuel to get back here and see that. Skinner will go to victory lane. We'll be hearing from Marty Reed and the winner. It is over at Louisville. It was wild. We'll be back to hear the winner right after this time. At Louisville, Skinner has won it rather handily over Joe Rutman and Butch Miller in the final analysis. Toby Butler was 4th. It was a Chevy bracketing 3 Fords. Corelli rounding out the top 5 in another Chevrolet. So the Chevy streak remains intact in the series, and Skinner gets his 4th victory. He came to start finish to acknowledge the fans there and is now making his way over to victory lane where he will be joined by our Marty Reed. He led the series by just 3 points over Butch Miller. Let's see if we can eavesdrop on some of the celebratory conversation here.
Well, he's got his shades on, his hat on, his drink of Gatorade. What could be better?
Big smile on his face.
Big smile on his face, and he's won the race. All right, jump out of there. Uh-oh.
Here's
PJ.
the other side of that coin. PJ. Go to Marty Reed.
I got to ask you, did you honestly believe, after what happened in the early going of this race, that you ever had a shot at winning?
Yeah, I'll tell you, this GM Goodwrench service truck run awfully good today, and I got a super good crew, a great car owner. This thing was hooked up. When, you know, that unfortunate thing happened to the 31 deal there, and I know, you know, he was just holding on. He didn't mean to get into us, and he knocked us in the side there, and we had to start in the back, and this thing was so hooked up, I told the guys, I said, you know, I used a lot of tire up getting back here, but I think we can win this race. They said, well, just keep the tires on it, and we'll be okay.
What changes did you make at the halfway point? Because on every restart, you were shot out of there like a cannon.
Well, you know, we've been running short tracks for a long time, and these restarts on the short tracks just come with time, and I'll tell you, I feel great about it. This thing's got a real good motor in it.
Yeah, here comes car owner Richard Childress, and I got to get Richard in this. You don't know about this, Mike, but I remember when we talked, you said, I'm not so sure I'm glad I came for this thing. You glad now?
Yeah, I am. Well, you know, it was a good race all night. You know, Butch and a bunch of those guys in the back just kept coming, and it was a good race all night.
All right, now tell me the truth. When he got into all that trouble in the early going, did you think he was going to be able to bring it back?
I felt it would. You know, when we were looking for a driver, we wanted somebody that could get in there and just get with the program on these short tracks and, you know, be able to handle a truck whenever somebody pushed him around, and he's doing a great job for us.
Okay, now how long do you get to celebrate before you jump in the plane back to Dover?
Oh, an hour or so, but we got to get back tonight. We're going to do it again tomorrow, and, you know, the car's running great at Dover today, so we're looking forward to tomorrow.
Well, so far so good for Richard Childress Racing. They're 1 for 1 this weekend. They'll see if they can do it again tomorrow at Dover, guys.
Seen that scene a lot. Those guys overcoming adversity, fix it, bend it back into shape, do whatever you got to do to win.
I'll tell you, and the truck, as Mike Skinner said, it really was hooked up. I guess that's why here's the crash that he was talking about. The 31 makes contact. That's Sprague, the white truck, makes contact with Toby Butler. He goes up, and there is the damage. The left front of Sprague goes up and hits the 3 truck in the left side. And he had to make pit stops to repair that damage, and that's how he got to the back of the pack.
So he got a big mark on the side of it, but he also got the big check at the end of the day. We'll be back with more from Louisville in a moment. Full field rundown. Mike Skinner at the head of the class for the 4th time. This year, Ruttman, Miller, Butler, and Corella, your top 5. Portengay had a good run today. He got beat up a couple of times, ended up 6th. Mike Bliss spun 3 times and still finished 7th. Straight, Sprague, and Churchill rounding out the top 10. A late incident dropped P.J. Jones to 11th. Sedgwick was 12th. Sammy Swindell 13th. Jerry Glanville provided his fair share of fireworks today en route to 14th. Resendiz held on for a 15th place finish. Bad day for Hornaday. Earnhardt's guys got all beat up, finished a ways down. How about Darrell Waltrip in 17th?
Hey, Darrell, you did good. Finished 17th.
I have somebody's idea of a joke. I don't know. Breback Legacy. And there are 2 or 3 more guys in there that show up today as we round out. Darrell came here because of those broken ribs. He figured he was too hurt to run Dover. No, we're just kidding. Anyway, we're going to go down and get Joe Ruttman's perspective on that, perhaps find out what that last sequence of restarts was all about. If he had it to do over again, might he do something different? There's Joe standing by with Marty Reed.
Joe, I've got to ask you right off the top, on the restarts, it looked like Mike just was shot out of a cannon. Did he have you all the way, or was it just something, gear ratios, or what?
Well, I think we have to go back and take a look, Marty, what's taking place. You know, he just runs good, and he just gets good starts, and you know, it's hard to say really what's going wrong. You know, we just have to take back maybe the driver and he just step on the gas a little quicker.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Let's go back in the race because you guys almost went a lap down. When you had a problem, you had to come in and change the left rear tire, and you had to come in twice, and the crew did a great job for you.
Well, I think that's the people we have to thank now is all the fellas on the crew. I hate to mention one because they all were really important. You know, the old F-150 did real good. They put 2 lug nuts on the first time. We had to come back and put the rest of them on and tighten them up. And, you know, Mike would just, congratulations, Mike, you did a great job, and he was just a little faster at the end. We worked the tires a little bit hard coming through the pack, and he was just quicker at the end.
Well, that 2 lug nut, then all of them getting tightened down, kept you on the lead lap and made a second-place run possible. And yeah, it was sure entertaining for us. I know you're disappointed because you didn't win, but it was fun for us.
Well, we knocked the inner panels out of it, and she got a little warm in there, but it's fun, you know. If I'm getting tired of kissing my sister all the time, she's really nice, but they're really nice, I should say. They're over there, more than one.
Just tell them to shave a little closer.
That's what I'm going to have to do. Hi, everybody.
See that fellow standing right behind Joe Ruttman with the purple shirt? That's his brother Jim Ruttman. I used to race against Jim.
I think the nephew was there. There's a whole family reunion talking about his sister. Got the Ruttman clan. What a great racing name that is. We'll take a quick break and come back with more. Still got a couple of minutes to wrap it up from Louisville. Not a whole lot different than the way we came into it. Mike Skinner with a narrow lead over Butch Miller. What is that, 18 points? Joe Ruttman third. Hornaday now fourth, and Sedgwick fifth, after the wild action here at Louisville this afternoon. And it'll perhaps be even wilder when we go to Bristol. The sun's setting slowly in the west, and we look ahead to Friday, June the 23rd. What do you think, Benny? Was this good enough to be worth coming back for?
I guarantee I will be there.
We'll be back with more to wrap things up from Louisville right after this. There he is, third again. Let's go to Marty Reed with third place, Butch Miller.
For the fourth time in 8 races, Butch Miller is in third place. But I want to ask you something. Your truck's the cleanest looking piece of machinery, the only one I don't think has any dents on it. What were you doing out there? Did you have some kind of aura around you?
Well, what would happen is they'd crash right in front of me. I'd slam on the brakes. Everybody'd drive around me, and there I was at the back of the pack. It's pretty hard to crash in the back.
Did you have anything left, or did you just get hung up in a little, or did Skinner just have everybody covered today?
Well, I'm not sure what Skinner had left at the end. I felt like we had something for Joe. However, it's so difficult with the double file restarts to get going. You spend a lot of time passing the lap traffic. And then by the time you get to go race with somebody, well, they have a restart and you're back double up again.
Well, Butch Miller, the only man still to complete every single lap at every race this year.
Give you one more look at the field wrap-up here and a quick final thought from Benny Parsons now that you've seen one of these live and in the flesh.
I loved it. What do you think? Didn't you think it was fantastic?
It was a wild, wild show, and we'll have another one just like it at Bristol. Sports Center is next. That's going to pretty well wrap things up here from Louisville. Marty Reed, great work today in the pits, and Benny Parsons and Dave Despain enjoying the action up topside. Here are the guys who enjoyed it most. It is that black 3 that pulled it off again. 4th victory in the series for Mike Skinner. He retains the point lead. He is very much the man to beat in this inaugural tour of the NASCAR SuperTruck Series by Craftsman. They're headed east. They go to Richmond to test on Monday. You fans are invited, and you'll see them again in 3 weeks here on ESPN. That's it, live from Louisville. I'm Dave Despain. Thanks for being here. So long, everybody.